Hi, and welcome to another episode of Wine and Wisdom. I'm Thomas Hoang, and you're listening to the TL podcast, where knowledge is shared and no one takes themselves too seriously. Okay, well, the second bottle was fantastic. Now let's get on to our third one. So which one are we going to try? What do we have there?
We've got a Shiraz and we've got a Cap.
Oh, well, I think we're going to have to try Shiraz first.
We'll have to try Megsy's because if she's... We know what we get with you, Chris, which isn't much.
So,
Ooh.
man, seriously?
You have lost weight, mate.
Tempest to Hunter Valley. Come on, boys. Come on, boys.
Megsy, tell us what you bought and why you bought it.
I brought it because it's my dad's favourite.
Awesome.
And yeah, it's just a Tempest 2 Graphic Series Shiraz from the Hunter.
Hunter Valley wine.
Hunter Valley.
Mm-hmm.
Can't go wrong with the Shiraz from Hunter.
So what's up in the last 2 weeks since
Say no to the jab. Say no to the jab. Did you see yesterday?
That is crazy, isn't it?
Yesterday, a lady died 3 hours after getting it.
I didn't hear that one.
82-year-old, yeah.
I didn't say that
Yeah,
one.
you know what's funny? Because I said this last week.
Okay, hang on. She was 82. Would she died
No,
3
yeah,
hours
hang on.
afterward anyway?
Don't steal my thunder, right? So when I've said this the other week, when COVID came and 83-year-olds were dropping dead that had 18 different medical conditions, it was definitely COVID, right? So this lady, God rest her soul, had died a couple of hours after getting the jab, and they're saying, oh, it wasn't the jab. She had pre-existing medical conditions that were probably going to kill her anyway. So it's all right. When it was the virus and they were trying to scare the shit out of us, it was definitely the virus. It wasn't their lung cancer, diabetes, or anything else that killed them. It was the virus. Now they got people getting blood clots. There's old ladies dying hours after they get the jab. It's definitely not the jab. All right. So my point is, you can't have it fucking both ways. And I don't, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but there is no way in God. I won't even take it now. I know we spoke before about don't worry about us, but there's not a chance. Fuck off.
So it's only the AstraZeneca virus, right, at the moment that they're having issues
Zeneca.
with? AstraZeneca.
Not the virus, mate. The anti. The vaccine.
The jab.
It's the COVID
Sorry,
virus.
sorry,
It's been around for a little
You
while.
understand what I'm
You
going
might have
for.
heard of it. It's called Corona.
It's the AstraZeneca vaccine
Yes, mate.
that they're having issues with,
Yep.
right? Isn't there another one?
Yeah, the Pfizer one that's only effective in 60% of people. So we've got choices are good.
We've got a lot of choices there.
Choices
No,
are good.
there's a few. There's Pfizer,
There's three, isn't there?
there's Moderna.
And we can't get any out of Germany. So,
Australia's making their own now, apparently.
oh, that'll work well.
Melbourne.
Homebrew.
And we're going to supply to Papua New Guinea because they've got a huge outbreak of COVID there as well. What I was getting at is if they're the ones making it and you wanted to travel,
I'm not getting it, mate.
You will say you're
not
happy to
getting
stay in Sydney.
I don't travel anywhere. Only leadership conferences, and from now on, we're doing them all in the Hunter Valley.
So has it changed anyone else's opinion about taking it? Is it like this clots in 3 people, isn't it, right?
Yeah, two in a million.
It's 2 in every million.
It's more than how many people were dying from the actual virus, though. That's
Oh, come on, stop it.
fake
Listen,
news. That's what we're about.
I think that's where I agree with you.
Would have something
There
to
was
report
this entire wave of people anti-vaccination anyway, right? Jim Carrey was one of them. He carried the flag. James Eugene carried it. And they're looking for things to justify their position. Now there's one, suddenly they jump on the bandwagon. Now we're into that kind of war. We are in exactly the same thing as we were before with other politicians, which is half is going to say yes, the other half is going to say no. Mate, we have to make a decision. And every one of us will make different decisions. That's it. That's how it works.
It's like every vaccine, though. They've all got side effects.
Yeah.
A possibility of this or that, or like some people choose not to vaccinate their children for
Right.
this exact reason.
Do you know what, Meg? I wish they brought out every kind of vaccination or medication and said how many deaths normally would happen in a million.
Yeah, but
And you'd find that there's probably a lot of stuff that we take for granted, but it's not in the news, that actually provoke more death. I mean,
But it's the same with the virus. So I'm using their logic. So the logic that the government gave us for shutting everyone down, costing all those people their jobs, all the people who've killed themselves, all the divorces,
Yep.
the same logic they used to cause that, I'm using their logic to not take the vaccine. Is that okay? Because definitely the vaccine's safe and definitely COVID killed all those people. That's all I'm doing, mate. I'm just
they're reversing their decision on the vaccine, their excuse, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that, listen, talking about it for the moment, it's going to be, do you know what? In hindsight, in 8-9 months, people can say, I was right, and the other groups are not going to say anything at all. Let's go back to a little while ago. How many people said the economy was going to go into total recession when it first started? Where are they now? How many people really back in those days, last March 2020, how many of them would have said, mate, August 2020, property boom?
We said it.
No.
Heard it here first.
We did. We said that at the end of last year. We knew this was coming.
But listen, the thing is, how many people would have said it in March? So there's always 50-50.
It's not. It's the media controlling it. The media hasn't come out and said there's going to be a crash for 2 weeks. So people are still buying houses. When they come out and
I don't think it's...
We were wrong about one thing, mate. I bet everything I owned that someone from another political party will get done for some sort of sexual offence by the time we did this podcast, and nothing's come out. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
No, there's plenty, but obviously now they're putting it on the carpet, and hence now they are going to include politicians and judges in that new act. As if like all of these things were not to include those guys. I don't get it, right? But I for me, that was the bigger news the last 2 weeks. It's all of these sexual thing now, and you were talking about Me Too in
I was joking, Mix.
No, he was not joking, Meg. So he was very serious. So we've got all of these things happening. It is happening big. Like you look at, I'm not taking party, but I was sitting down with my children and said to them, there will be a lot of boys pissing in their pants for the moment because they are now 18 or 19, and there will be girls who will be coming back and on the radio or on TV say that at the age of 14, this is what happened to them. There's going to be shattered life. I can't say because it hasn't happened to my family as yet. I hope it never happened. But I don't know how I would react. But definitely there's going to be long-term repercussion about this.
Can we get a female point of view about what's going on? Because every time we open our mouths, I feel like I'm going to get sued. So can we get
about what?
Some levity in this conversation? Well, look, the problem we have is that
10 years,
one comes
years,
out.
30
No,
years
one
later.
comes out and then 50 come out, and because it's, especially in politics, right, but politics is so grubby, you don't know who to believe or what to believe, and it's not an anti, like, I can't even talk without getting sued, but
I think
it's
as
not
a
an anti-female thing or an anti-politics thing
No.
or an anti-anything. You just don't know who to fucking believe. And
What's the opinion? What's your opinion on it?
My opinion is you own your own actions. So if you put yourself in a situation that something might happen...
Oh, you're gone for that, because one of the female politicians come out and said that you shouldn't get drunk at work events and maybe this wouldn't happen. And that
Well,
was
no,
she
it's
got
not even that.
hammered.
It's like if someone does something that's wrong, it's wrong, right?
Yeah.
But don't go and be like, oh, this person did that to me if you've enticed that. If you've led that on and that's happened to you, like within reason, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
Sometimes it's not even at the time. It's after the fact that people go, oh, this happened to me, whether it be male or female.
Yeah, absolutely.
This has happened to me. And it's like, well,
I think where the problem
what
is,
happened at the time?
I think where
and
the
when there's
problem is-
alcohol involved, that makes it harder because it's a very blurred recollection of what happened. Whereas if there's no alcohol involved, probably a different story because you can say, well, yes, they said this or they didn't say that.
There's levels to it all, right? So it started off as a rape, and then it's everyone's being sexually harassed and all this sort of stuff, and that's such a broad definition. And I went into a room with a guy. We'd both had 14 bottles of wine and 86 schooners, and he put his hand on my knee. He's not something to go
That's
to the
right.
newspapers about 20 years later, like totally anti-rape and any sort of
unfortunately-
non-consensual anything. But
Yeah. Unfortunately,
Come on,
a lot
man.
of the time it's to do with these high-profile sports people or movie stars or people that are famous in their own field that people see an opportunity, like we were talking about before with the Jim Carrey thing. People see the opportunity there because of the level that these people are at. If
That's
that
not
had
a Jared
happened
Hayne
down
thing,
at the local leaguesy, would they still do the same thing?
Or if it hadn't been, yeah, exactly. And the Jared Hayne thing is what what he is alleged to have done or has been found guilty of. We're on a completely different level.
That's
to
not the same.
having 87,000 drinks
even-
and touching someone on the knee. That's
Yeah.
not what we're talking about. But there's another one in the footy, and I know it's Thomas's favourite subject, but Jack de Bellin's been on trial for 4 years for having a threesome with a girl in a hotel, and there's video evidence that she hung out with him before, afterwards, but she's after 5 minutes of fame. And
Yeah.
it's been a hung jury twice already for the bloke, and he's lost. And I'm not saying he did it or didn't do it, but he's lost millions of dollars in his career.
I don't know how we travel back to reality from where we are at this point. The fact that people need to stop and say, you know what, I'm an adult.
You got to
I
take
can say no, I
ownership.
can stand up and I can walk out.
You
Yeah.
don't have
And
to,
I
mate.
don't need to hang people by the frickin' noose
Yeah.
to get my revenge or to have my 5 minutes of fame.
You gotta
There is
take
no way back,
ownership.
because as soon as you open your mouth, you got 500,000 losers who have got your back.
Yeah. It's
That's the
not just
problem.
to do with the sexual assault or the rape or anything like that, though. It's just
Everything.
life in general. Everyone's looking for someone else to blame or how they can have their 5 seconds
That
of fame.
guy
or
said
how
I
they
should
can-
lose weight. You're 450 kilos.
Yeah.
You should probably do something about your weight.
how they can get the poor me and people on their
Yeah.
side.
Don't speak to me that way.
No, you can't. You can't. I wasn't talking about you, Chris. Okay, so all the people that are
My experience,
getting their lynch.
I know of a story is that actual event, work function, a manager put his hand on a female employee's knee. He didn't own the business. He was just a manager. There was signals to say that she was interested. She wasn't. The following week, she went to HR. He lost his job. I think you're at a work function. You both had a few drinks because it was a work function. He got stood down.
Miscommunication. The problem is it's creating an environment, like I'm so scared to open my mouth at work, or like there is just, because the level it's been taken to, and I'm not touching anyone on the knee, but you can't even,
Except your missus.
I can't even, mate.
And then she
Who,
gets
who
you-
knows, right? So me and my wife work together. We give ourselves, if I gave her a hug or a kiss on the forehead or something in the middle of work, who's to say someone isn't turning around going, oh, that made me feel uncomfortable, and blah, like the world's gone fucking
that's
mad,
true,
mate.
That's true.
The world's gone mad, and it's how we navigate it and how we manage to lead effectively when you're constantly on eggshells. I mean, you can say things, but the world of public opinion says you can't. I mean, there's false fear too, because half the stuff probably isn't going to stack up in court and all that sort of thing. But you don't even want to put yourself in that
I
position.
think, though, it comes down to using your own common sense, and some people don't have it, unfortunately. But if you're going to say something as a one-off joke, comment, whatever, that's fine. But if it's a thing that keeps going on, that they're saying it's a continual thing that makes them uncomfortable, or it's a continual racist joke, or whatever it
I
is.
worry about interviews, Meg. Like I've been
Yeah.
doing a lot of interviews lately, and if someone sits in front of me and they're 143, I worry about going, listen, you're 143, I'm not sure this job's for you, because then it's age discrimination, and oh, you're 143.
Can you door knock
I'm not
6
sure
hours a
you
day?
can door knock for
Yeah.
10 kilometres a day. Like, and that should be something that human beings should be able to say to each other. I'm concerned for you because of this. All of a sudden you're discriminated against. I'm not talking about workplace bullying or I know what jokes
Go
should be
around.
able to be said and
Yeah.
shouldn't be said.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm talking about. It's the things that should be
Simply
able to...
asking their age, you're not allowed to, I believe.
Yeah, well,
No.
I've done that in every interview for the last 2 weeks, so I'm gone. How
I
old
think
are
we're going
you?
too far. We're going too far.
Yeah.
Political correct, Chris.
No, but how do you know? Because the popular, right, which is the politicians who have to win a popularity contest to get voted in, are the ones who allow the legislation like you're not allowed to ask someone's age in a job interview. Like, that is a fucking ridiculous... If I hadn't asked that age, I wouldn't have found out that there was 2 16, nearly 17-year-olds applying for full-time sales jobs with me in the last 2 weeks. They didn't look at their age. They didn't talk their age. But that's how old they were. If I
On the application, you're allowed to put birth date.
age on request, like we have to do with tenancy agreements now, because you're not allowed to say no pet.
You can generally tell, though, like, if they've done a resume based on what their past
But you
work
shouldn't have to
experience
guess.
is.
You shouldn't have to guess.
In 1964,
I should be able to go-
I worked
I
at
should be able to go, do you mind if I ask how old you are?
Knockin' Kirby.
We can't have 143-year-olds door knocking on doors. It's a bloody
Political
statute.
correctness has gone way too far. It's the unfortunate thing, and it's gone
No.
every avenue.
Yeah, it is.
Every
And let's imagine you don't ask that person's age.
They die.
And then they go door knocking, something
'Cause they
happened to
just
them.
had the COVID
Why
vaccine.
didn't you find out how old they were before you send them out?
Exactly. I'd be
Man,
gone. What are you
doesn't
doing
matter
getting
what
143-year-old to door knock? And then it's all over Facebook, the news and the internet.
But normally at 143, you should see the sign. They'll come in with a cane. That should really give you...
Mate, I interviewed a guy yesterday who looks 35, he's 53. And I said, well done to you, sir. He looks younger than me. So you can't... But
What's
that's
your secret?
to
You
your
got a job.
point. To your point is they walk outside, die, because they're not fit for the job that they're being tasked with. I'm gone.
You know what? As employees, like we can't even ask, do you have kids? Like to a female athlete, you can't ask if you've got kids.
You've got to ask questions around it, though. You've got to learn to ask the question without asking the question.
You shouldn't have to.
But
mate.
that's the thing. You're right.
You're
Nick.
obviously a
That's
gun
the
at it.
thing.
You're obviously gun at it.
Yeah.
Mate, I don't have the skill, the time, or the ability to have to worry about every single word coming out of my mouth in a job interview. If I'm going to pay this person whatever I'm going to pay them, I need to know certain things. I need to know if they're up to the job, capable of doing the job, if they have extenuating circumstances that might affect their ability to do the job, and you can't ask fucking any of it. So what do we got to do? I liked them, so we'll give you a job and we'll pay you $5,000 a month to find out.
Well, you interview them, you ask them the questions that you're allowed to ask, you figure out if they're likeable and teachable,
Is
if
there
you
a
think they
list?
can do the
'Cause-
job, and then you bring them in for opportunity day, and then if they can prove that they're capable of doing it for the day, well, then you decide from there.
Stop talking sense. We shouldn't have to do it in the first place.
Problem-
No,
the problem-
but here's the thing. What if I was the interviewee and I realized that you're not really straight with me? That the way you're talking is...
You're asking roundabout questions.
So I don't like to work for a fake company. I don't want to work for someone who is putting kitty gloves on and when they're talking to me, then what? You've lost me?
Well, I generally open with, so tell me a little bit about yourself. And then they will, quite often they'll say, well, I work at McDonald's or I'm in sales or I do this. They start generally with work stuff. And then I'll say, okay, that's really great. Tell me a little bit about yourself outside of work. What are your hobbies? What do you like to do in your spare time? And then they will open up a little bit more. And then you kind of just ask around what they've brought up. So you don't need to say, have you got kids? Because they... quite often in those questions will say, on weekends I do this with my kids. Oh, you've got kids. How old are they? And then
But
you go
to
from
Thomas's
there.
point, if you're not being direct with them and there's someone who likes being direct, and that's can be a great trait in a salesperson, especially someone who needs to close.
Yeah. You got to read the person that you're interviewing too, though.
Oh, imagine you're interviewing him. Gone. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Gone, and you've just lost the member for One Nation Party.
Yes!
No, it's an interesting point. I'd never thought of it that way. What if you and to that point, I've got no worries there because I probably ask all the questions that shouldn't be asked. But you just got to.
Well, quite often we'll say to people, look, we're not supposed to ask this, but we do encourage a non-smoking policy. Do you smoke? Preempt it with, we're not supposed to ask this, but do you, and they don't have to answer it if they don't want to. You can say, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to.
It's a shit
Those
world
that
where you got
smoke
to
will
do
say,
it.
I'd rather not answer that.
Yeah.
It's a
Or they'll never, normally they don't say, no, I don't smoke. They'll either say, no, I don't smoke, or they say, yes, that's okay. And generally the ones that say, yes, that's okay, they do, and they just will attempt not to at work. You can tell by the way they answer.
World's gone mad.
So what else has happened in the last 2 weeks in your life?
Something I was, not my life, but
I've
found out today.
been
from the
kicking
news.
stones, mate.
One of Donald Trump's advisors just wrote what they call the Trump memoirs or something.
Oh, yeah?
Got paid $3 million for it to tell us about what Trump. I thought everyone knew about.
We could have written the Joe Biden
Yes,
one
but,
because he'd
hey,
be
listen,
asleep by the second page.
But you're going to have to give it to him, right? When Trump was in office, there was no Me Too movement. Anything that Trump did was the right way of doing things.
So this was the.
Do you reckon it was, Because
So-
I read the Forbes list.
Vice or
He's off the Forbes rich list because he lost $700 million worth of net worth during his presidency.
oh, he'll get back there. Daddy will pay him out.
Dad's dead.
Oh no, that was a joke.
No, but that's all right. Hey, listen,
I'm so
the
offended
man's
right now.
buying a label,
You
right?
okay?
For the rest of his life,
Are you
he
okay?
was the president of America, okay?
Can you
If
write
you're
it on
offside, I've
Facebook,
got
please? I don't want you to
$3
actually
million
ask me if
What's
I'm
Ivana
okay.
Trump going to get? And what's her name? Ivana Trump, isn't it? His missus.
Ivanka.
No, Melania.
Melania
No,
Trump.
Ivanka is his daughter.
Melania, what's she going to
Barnes
get?
is ex.
If she writes it, what is she? Is she going to get huge money?
No, she can't write anyway. Let's
That
try.
was didn't have a lot of legs in it, that.
Are we going to have a, hey?
Chris's question had no
I
legs
just
like one of
wanted
his
to know,
wines.
It's a lot of money for a bloody book. I'd write a book about youth Cam for $3 million.
Mate, Rogan just got paid $100 million for a podcast.
That's our template.
That's where we're aiming, right?
where we
I'm
go.
bringing in the law of
Well,
attraction.
but now, boys, I'm very, very sorry. We won't be sharing in 3. We're going to have to share in 4.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
But it's a longevity, right? So
Can I see the
Yes, sir.
contract?
So
Time served.
it's the time served, right? So we've got to go back and how many podcasts we've got to divide. So
Anyway, let's get on to your wine.
Can't
all
have
right, I've got a 2012 Cab Merlot. So it's a blend.
Heavy.
It's a Woodlands. It's from the Margaret River, so Western Australia. Beautiful part of the world. Creates some fantastic wines. Obviously, as everyone know, it'd be a Cabernet grape mixed with a Merlot, and the way you can tell the majority grape is by the first grape on the label. So
Well, that's
the
new.
majority would be Cabernet.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so the majority is Cabernet. So if it's a Shiraz Cab or a Cab Shiraz, then you know which one's got the majority grape. In a Cab Merlot, it's majority of the time it is a Cabernet which has the most grape.
Yeah.
And if they've got a blend of more of 3 or 4, they only put the highest 2.
Yeah, no, anything that is less
Righto,
than 5%, you
Wikipedia.
don't have to put on the label. Yeah.
So let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
Cam's still drinking.
What do we? Meg's done all right there.
Yeah, that's Tempest Susor is good red.
I didn't mind it.
Very structured. Better than your white.
Not like this conversation.
Well, come on, man. Be nice about a conversation. I think
unstructured
it's
is
a
all I
tough
said.
subject.
Yeah.
Why? Because what if your daughter was the one involved in those things? You change your point of view, right? So gonna have to really sometimes
There's not
agree
a
to
one
disagree.
answer fits all.
No.
It's every situation that gets brought up is so different. And the ones that have 20, 30, 40 people coming out about it, it's probably something valid in it.
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
It's just it's the level of it. Look, we are.
No, but you don't have to be too black and white, mate.
I'm not being black
Things
and
are
white.
just
I'm
a
not
bit
being black and
different,
white.
mate. Come on, man.
Listen, if Indy has 86 schooners and puts a hand on someone's knee, I'll be the first one to jump all over it and say no.
All right, let's try this one here.
I think you won.
Yeah.
I know I won.
Good,
Your
good
wine-
red.
your
This is a
wine
good
was-
red, but it tails off quickly. So
Okay.
Listen, what were you about this? Bobby Joe, how is it going? What's happening?
I think we're sold out as of today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. 220 people we've got
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
We probably still need some more donations for the auctions.
Yeah.
Prizes. But other
So
than that,
but tell us about the purpose of the day.
So the purpose of the day is to raise enough money to secure a deposit for a house for Bobby Joe so that she can start to fund some of her own medical costs. We've got a few people on board. So we've got Community First who are helping with like lower interest rates and things like that. We're looking at different grants that may be possible for her so that all of this is just going to bring basically the base cost down so that she's earning more for her ongoing costs.
Yeah, right. So it's a race day, isn't it, that we're doing?
Yeah, it's a race day.
220 tickets. You there, mate?
Race day in an auction, yeah, we bought a
Yeah,
table.
you there, mate?
We need another table.
That is disgusting.
No,
That is
obviously wasn't
disgusting.
quick enough.
No, that's exact. No,
Butcher's
all you
got,
didn't
Butcher's
carry
got
now.
10 tables, so surely someone can, because we got another table we could fill as well.
This is my question. Is she going to be there that day? She's going to be there. That's
Yep.
great,
She's
isn't
got
it?
a spot.
So's my brother, though, so that might weigh out the positivity. He rang me. He goes, mate, I've just bought 16 tickets to the charity. I want a box at the football, all catered, fully paid for. I'm like, what? He goes, well, if I'm doing this charity thing, I want. I said, mate, I think you've missed the word. I said, let me ring Bobby Joe and ask you if she'll get you a box at the footy, you goose. So it's going to be a lot of... No one here's
Yeah,
met
so-
my
Yeah,
brother.
she can't
so-
talk and she can't move
Yeah.
since the age of 6 months. But
Yeah.
maybe
I
you
said,
find
let
out
me
something,
let me
right?
ring the girl in the wheelchair and ask her
yeah.
if you can have your box at the
Idiot.
footy. So
An
Welcome
idiot.
to
What's
the
his name so that we
Yeah,
know who to
that-
avoid that day?
yeah, you haven't met my brother yet. Oh, this is going to be fucking exciting. Last time he was
Older
at
or
Hoang Race
younger?
Club, he stole all the horse ornaments out of the members' lounge. So
Wow.
I've told him to say
we
that he's
just,
from.
Can we make sure that
Thanks,
table
Tim.
is very far away from
Yeah.
mine, please?
He's working for George Brand, if anyone asks. And, he's a
I
member
can't
there.
believe
He
you're
owns
not there,
racehorses,
Chris.
so-
What's wrong
Mate.
with you?
Yeah. Mate, I wasn't
Anyway, he's
thinking
got
up.
another some more seats on that table.
Good. I'm waiting for the invite. I'll be up.
No, we're full.
Oh, well, can't come.
I have a ticket for you. I do have a ticket for you.
Done.
There you go. Bloody hell.
I'll
The
bring
guys said to me, the
I'll
guys
bring
saw
a
my
bon-
gift
I'll bring
wrapping
a,
today, and they
auction
said,
gift, an auction item.
the guys saw my gift wrapping today, and I said,
You
"Well,
can be
if
the
you
auctioneer.
Done.
Oh, here
problem.
you go. That is. He
I
will
don't
be
know
one-
if that's been sorted actually. So
And I'll charge half my usual cost, which is nothing. So
his usual
I'll shout you
commission."
a beer. I'll shout you a beer.
The guys said to me today, "You dress so well for work. I can't wait to see what you wear at the races." I said, "Probably the same thing. I've done all I can.
Stay done up.
I've done all I can."
I'm like Einstein and Steve Jobs. This is all I wear every day.
We haven't had the opportunity to do a team event this year yet, so we're bringing everyone to the race.
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite
So
nice.
what day is it on?
It's Thursday the 13th of May. It's at Hoang Race Club.
Thursday. I'll be there.
It's my birthday month too, so we'll just tie it into everything.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
I think
Wow.
it's Dean Burke's birthday on that day.
Dean Burke.
If you see me running down the home straight, come on.
Hey, listen. So what else is good news for the
The
moment?
question I have for
Yeah.
you, big man, is the Wisebury Foundation. You were looking at doing another day.
And Empower.
Empower, yeah.
There's going to be quite a few things happening. We've got, for the moment, 7 speakers.
All right.
One of which is a lady.
Lucky.
And she's good. She is like, wow, out of this world.
Hope she
We also
speaks
have
more than
Wayne
Megs.
Bennett,
Pardon?
who's coming to talk. And I think it's going to be our way to give back to Australia and to the community in terms of helping them, going through the aftermath of the pandemic, the vaccination, the depression, the maybe domestic violence, all of these things that we need to look after. And I think it's going to be a great way. It's costing me a fortune, though, because I'm now up to flying quite a few people and paying for their transfer. But
I said I'd talk for free,
they've
mate.
been good enough to gift us their time.
Yeah.
And I think that they'll do a bloody good job to be there. And hopefully, even if we only change one person, it's that one person that could be the change in Australia.
So do we have a date?
Yes, it's going to be the 15th of June. So 15th of June, we've
My
we've
birthday quarter.
Hey, that's my birthday month. Yeah. Beat it.
It would be past his birthday by about 20 days, but it's okay.
I should be over the hangover.
But we'll talk more about this. I think that it pays to talk a little bit about Bobby Joe, because when we spoke about Bobby Joe with some of these people who are giving things, and hopefully we're going to get some more people who are going to realize that this is a story of a child who is a fighter, who was born pretty normal. So you imagine young parents and having a child who at the age of 6 months turns and goes totally paralyzed and now is in need of help. And she's got a big smile. I've seen her a few times going through pain and still have a smile. I mean, she is a mentor. We were talking about mentor earlier. There's no age. And so I think that's a person we're celebrating. Not because it's just her. I think we're celebrating because she's our teacher. In many ways, she's teaching us things that we can't learn from anywhere else. And those people who don't understand Bobby Joe, if they only took the time just to spend 5 minutes, I think they'll understand Bobby Joe. Because I think Bobby Joe's got that way of telling you a lot of things about yourself without saying a word. And I think that day that we putting on, I think the team at Heritage is putting an enormous amount of effort. I know that Crystal is doing a lot too.
Yeah, she's
I know
doing
that Veronique is putting a lot of time into that, because she's starting to talk a lot about it at home, about certain things that she needs to have fixed. I think it takes a whole community to come around Bobby Joe, but it's not a community. It's probably the students that she's had throughout her young period of time on this planet. And I touch wood, I hope it's going to be a long one. And all that we're doing for the moment is really trying to find a way to make a future more secure.
We had a couple of people from our team that went and visited Rod and Jodie's place and met Bobby Joe because they hadn't met her. So they put their hand up to coordinate the fundraiser, but, you know, had heard a little bit about her story but didn't know exactly.
Didn't have the connection.
Yeah, so they went and visited, and the two of them, one male, one female, both said, like, they both had to hold back tears because walked into this beautiful little girl's bedroom, and to see what they saw in a girl of her age's bedroom, they said it was so confronting of, you know, all this medical supplies and a hospital bed and everything that is in there, but then another area of the home that was all storage of just medical supplies like gloves, and through COVID they found it really difficult because everyone was using those resources, so for them to get that it became quite hard for them. But both of them basically had to pull their head together and say, you know, you don't get the opportunity to get upset about this because this isn't you, like you're not living this, and this is someone else's reality, and you've got to be thankful for the life that you've got, but you've also got to be thankful that you've met her and understood that, you know,
you can make a difference to her.
You can.
You can. Absolutely, you can.
Yeah. And I think that Bobby Joe is one person you can look at. The other people you need to really take your hat off to is Jodie and Rod. I mean, these two people are just out of this world. I visited her hospital bed when she spent, 12, 15 weeks waiting for an operation or trying to recover, where her mum was sleeping on a bit of a mattress in the corner of the room. I mean, this is sick stuff. And also when I hear that her father was driving home one day, he was so tired. He almost had a fatal accident because he lost it almost in the rain on the freeway. I mean, these are stuff we don't hear. We listen to these things and then we think it's, and suddenly it makes our little problems about our child not having the marks that they should have had at school, or our child falling in the school and it's the school's fault because they should have had the pavers there rather than just grass because it's slippery. Those things really amount to nothing.
Walking into that children's ward though alone was very full on. Yeah. But how Jodie handled that, and even going to visit them, it was an eye opener. But they just took it on. It was just, yep, this is what's got to happen. This is how it's got to be done. And she lay there, and they had people that came in and like sung songs and read books, and she was stoked. Like, of the pain that she would have been in, but to sit there and just smile, and like I know you guys did a lot at that time too. Yeah, like I'll never forget that. So
may I ask you, please, Meg, how would someone who's listening to this, where do they call? What's the number that you could give if they wish to really contribute and donate to that deposit to buy that property for her?
Yeah, for sure. So they can call either our office and speak to myself or Carly.
Yeah, what's the number?
So 43933 922. They can donate anything from a really small item to something big. They can donate their time. They probably can't purchase tickets because I think that's just sold out.
I can sell mine.
Yeah.
we can auction mine.
They could also contact Crystal from the Carryong office. She's doing a really great job behind the scenes too.
Yeah, she's doing a good job.
If they wanted to donate directly financially, they could do that as well.
They can do that too, yeah. Right. So they can
go into Wisebury Foundation, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
if
the
they just
Wisebury
phone
Foundation
us,
has got, okay.
We can then direct them of if they just want to say, look, I can't come to the day or I can't give a prize, but I can donate X amount of money, that's fine as well. They'll get a receipt that's all tax deductible.
Yeah, okay. All right, so we only have time for one last piece of news.
I'm just still stuck on, I don't have the luxury of worrying about my kids' grades, mate. It's a problem.
Okay, well, then here's the last one that I would like to maybe focus on. It has nothing to do with news, but Meg, it's your first time. You're the first lady in the room. What did people think about you being part of now the most famous podcast in Australia?
I didn't really tell anyone. I just
most
came.
famous in the
She's
world.
ashamed of us. She's ashamed of us. She didn't tell anyone.
No wonder she was wearing a scarf. When she walked through the door.
A blonde wig.
She wasn't driving a normal car. I mean,
I came on a motorbike, you know.
So let's start with I
don't think she's added.
Why did you accept?
Beg your pardon.
Why did you want to be part of this?
Well, I think to begin with, we were talking about podcasting. I didn't realise that you were going to offer me to come to this podcast. And to be honest, I hadn't listened to this one for a while.
Why?
Because you were talking
That's
too much
honest.
shit
We're not
before.
happy, but that's honest.
So I didn't listen to it for a while, but then when Thomas mentioned to me about this one, I thought, well, let me see what they're talking about these days. And then I learnt that you were doing the 3 different segments, which I think excited me because it had a bit more structure and a bit more of a learning component. So, yeah.
Okay, that's very nice. And
Still stuck on she didn't listen to our podcast.
Mate,
actually,
Don't
she's
need
better
it.
off.
I used to.
Yeah,
For a
what
while.
changed?
Oh, I don't know. You pissed me off, so I stopped.
Oh, here you go.
I'll just
Anything
point
in
out she was
particular?
looking at Cam when she said that.
How could you taste Chris's wine
And
from all the way up
I
there?
concur. And I second your move, man.
It's a coup. It's a revolt.
Oh, well, ladies and boys, thank you very much for this week.
Thank you, sir.
We catch up soon. And read July. Very interesting stoic.
Yes,
See you,
Cam, you
boys
won one.
and girls.
Bye. Yeah, wine.
Yes.
Yeah.